Hello, my friends. This is Colby Harkey, and I have not done a video in quite some time, but I am now getting back into doing some videos as topics come up. This video is about a concept that I have been studying over the past 10 years at least, and had some mentors associated with this journey. I just want to say, as a disclosure, this is not by any means truth. These are just my opinions, my experience, and my understanding on the topic of soul retrieval and soul loss in the concept of shamanism. So, firstly, the biggest question when I talk about this is, what is soul loss? How does one experience soul loss? What kind of symptoms can you experience during soul loss? That's a very hard question to answer as far as symptoms, and how you can experience soul loss is a lot simpler. The general understanding that I have is with soul loss is that it can occur whenever we have some type of trauma that we experience in life, whether it's emotional, spiritual, mental, or even physical. That being said, it can occur at any point in our life, when we're younger, when we're older, or any stage. And it's hard to decipher when somebody has had an experience with soul loss and that they need help. But we'll get into that. To talk about what occurs when we experience soul loss, symptomatically, they can vary from physical ailments, mental ailments, spiritual, or even emotional ailments. So it's not something you can narrow down to just one particular symptom and say this is true soul loss. It takes a lot of intuition, a lot of understanding the person, talking to them, understanding their story and their background to be able to know whether soul loss has occurred or not. But what is soul loss? The concept that I was taught is when we experience these traumas, that parts of our soul fragment off and go into the esoteric realms as a means of protection. Generally speaking, when we've healed and overcome the trauma from whatever the experience is, that our soul tends to come back, or this fragment tends to come back. And once you've fully healed, it's returned. You don't have any side effects from that soul loss moment. However, there are other conditions in times where this is not the simple case. The concepts that I was taught is, if you have a smaller, and not trying to say that any type of trauma is lesser than the other. All trauma is trauma, all trauma is terrible. But a smaller experience of trauma in some regards compared to a major trauma in that respect, that the soul may just get stuck in these esoteric realms. And there are so many ways you can learn if you are skilled in any type of magical working, especially trance work, to learn how to recover these fragments yourself. But if you're not, then I would suggest you find somebody who knows how to take on these arts and how to enter into the spiritual realms and locate your missing soul fragment. To explain on how big a soul fragment can be, it can vary based on the trauma. But let's say the simple case occurs. You have a missing soul fragment that is just stuck in the esoteric realms. It doesn't know how to get back. Whether it's you or somebody skilled in the art of soul retrieval, enters into a trance, locates this piece, and guides it back into yourself or the person that needs the soul retrieval done. Once it's placed back in, and you feel in whatever practices you use to enter the trance, to come back, in whatever methods you feel are right for your journey, sealing it back within the person. Even if it's a simple case, definitely give them time, let them process things, take it slow, help them get up slow, ground them with some water or other grounding methods if you had the ability to step out in nature, but even just simple grounding methods. Slow, steady, let them recover, because this is pretty in-depth as far as the work itself goes. It's not something as simple as Reiki, if anyone is familiar with that concept, or just some standardized healing art. To explain it in more medical aspect, to help understand this difference, doing something like Reiki for, say, a minor wound. You clean it, you put a bandage on it, you wrap it up, you're good to go. Shamanic soul retrieval would be more closer to along the lines of doing a major surgery. So it's going to take time. You don't want to rush things. You want to be confident and understand what you're doing. The second level of soul loss that can occur is a little bit more complicated. And that's if the aspect of your soul, whether it's one, or I should even say even multiple aspects, are in the esoteric realms and they refuse to come back. That takes some coaxing, not coaxing, probably not the best term. That takes some work and some understanding and some conversing with them, these missing fragments, to convince them to come back. That they need to come back. They need to be back with the rest of you so that both you and them can be whole. That can be a little bit challenging. You have to find the right method to convince these pieces to come back. And that is going to be case by case dependent. There's no one answer fits all. The third scenario is the most involved and the most risky. This is in the concept of if some dark entity decides to take or hold on to those missing soul fragment or fragments. In that scenario, I would highly advise you have somebody, or you, if you're doing the work, are very confident in your skills, know what you're doing, and are very comfortable and don't get easily upset or afraid of dealing with these darker things. If this case was to come across, the problem can be, it may be a bartering game. And that can mean a soul for a soul. So that may mean you have to find something of equal or greater value to trade to whatever this entity is that's holding this soul fragment or fragments, and trade with them so you can get this piece back. And again, that could come down to the aspect of a soul for a soul. If it is the worst case scenario, which is that third scenario, this is not something to take light. It is very heavy work. It takes a lot of concentration, takes a lot of skill and a lot of knowledge in the esoteric realms to be able to do this. I will say, in my experience, I have not come across this. And I hope, for the sake of the person, if I come across a person who needs soul retrieval again, that they don't need that level, because that's some heavy trauma to deal with. And the aspect of helping this soul fragment understand that, yes, something dark may have had you, but it does not have you anymore. So those are the three scenarios of soul retrieval, or soul loss. In soul retrieval, in diagnosing if somebody needs it, again, you need to really talk with somebody and understand their situation, what they've been through. So it's going to take a lot of deep trust. To undergo soul retrieval and to practice this art, being confident in trancing and entering these spiritual realms, knowing how you got there, how you got back, how you get back, Heavy protection is always a key ingredient when doing this type of work. Protection for you, protection for your, whether you want to say client, patient, whatever term you want to use, friend, relative, whoever it may be. Heavy protection is a must in dealing with spiritual realms in general, but especially along this work. It can take sometimes a single trial, I shouldn't say trial, a single session to get the fragment back. It may take multiple sessions. It really just depends on the person. But someone very skilled in it is able to do this very effectively and can generally be done in a single session. But it also, again, goes back to how we experience this trauma. So this is a video I wanted to just kind of talk about my understanding of it and a little information about what I've learned from my shamanic mentors about soul retrieval and soul loss. As far as realms that this missing soul fragment or fragments may be, it can vary, and it can vary based on your beliefs and the beliefs of the patient, client, whatever term you want to use for the person who experienced soul loss. But I do want to give a shout out to Mac because he was a big inspiration to helping me get back into doing these videos. And I have another idea for a different topic that I will talk about at a later time. But this is a brief intro onto, again, my understanding and just my opinions and experience on what soul loss is and what soul retrieval is. I hope you all have a great day.